Take a moment and allow yourself to turn inward. Allow that power of intention and attention to shift from the world outside to the world inside. Allow the awareness to unhook itself from all of the sounds, the sensations, the smells, and the external world. And also allow it to unhook itself from the fluctuations within the mind. Just very consciously and very deliberately unhook that awareness and draw it deep within yourself. And notice what the inner world is like. Allow that awareness to be drawn to the breath and see how subtly you can be aware of the breath as it flows into you and flows out. Most of us notice the breath just in our chest or our lungs. But can you even feel it in that little space between your upper lip and the bottom of your nose? Can you feel the breath there? Let the awareness become so subtle that it's fully merged with the breath, even from the time that it's just blowing just across the lip and right into the nose. And can you follow that breath as it flows into you? Can you feel it flowing into and filling all of the cells of your being? Can you feel that sacred prana, that life force that we take in? That sacred energy that is flowing to you from across the tops of the Himalayas, from across the waters of Mother Ganga, charged with the energy of this sacred land. Can you feel that prana coming in? And touching and awakening all of the cells of your being, the cells of the physical body, but also the cells of the energetic body, the vital body, what we call the pranamaya kosha, this body that is made of vital energy, of prana. Can you feel the energy flowing into it? And remember, we're not judging, we're not telling stories, we're not analyzing. We're just being fully aware. Slowly and gently, bring the palms of your hands together in chest level in Namaste. And gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. And press the palms of those hands into your closed eyes. Slowly lower the hands and open the eyes. Welcome. Welcome to Satsang. Oh, we got lots of slips tonight. So usually we start with a question that came in from online. But tonight I have so many slips of paper. We'll start with these, or at least with one of them, and then we'll open it up to any other questions that anyone here might have. How can I control my ego? It makes me feel that I am something. I know better, but I am it makes me feel that I am something, that I know better, that I am a more sincere seeker than others, that I am more intelligent. But it is a burden on me. It weighs me down. It brings separation. I cannot gel with people quickly as I keep judging them. Please guide. So, this is a really common and very natural problem. It's a very good question. I'm very glad that whoever brought it has brought it. It's really common. And sadly, it's even common once we start on a spiritual path. Before we get on a spiritual path, the ego says, oh, you're the most powerful, you're the most beautiful, you're the richest, you're the best, you're the smartest. We get on a spiritual path and the ego says, you're the most humble, you're the most surrendered, you're the deepest. Right? And you see the interesting irony of the game that it plays. I'm the most humble, really. But that's the subtle game of the ego. And the only way to free yourself of it, first of all, is to see it and acknowledge it. Because when I think that is me, then it's very hard to get free of it. So we look at it, we notice it. We understand it's a natural aspect of the psyche. And we simply don't allow ourselves to believe it. There were games we used to play when we were kids where it would say, okay, if so-and-so always lies, if this part always lies and they're telling you this, how do you know, is it true, is it not true? And they're kind of mind games. If person X always tells the truth and says this, if person Y always lies but says that, how do you know? Well, with the ego, you can pretty much assume it's always lying. It's always telling you a story. So you hear it, you acknowledge it, you notice it. But you treat it very much like you would a child, even a family member, a neighbor, a colleague who's not, they're not evil. The ego isn't bad. It's not your enemy. You know, we paint the ego as this just horrible thing, as though we've somehow been possessed by some demon that came from outside, or, you know, invasion of the body snatcher sort of situation where it's come from outside into us and grabbed us. It's not that. The ego's actually been developed as we grow, trying to give us an understanding of who we are. The ego is just the sum total of all of that we've learned, that we've heard, that we've internalized, typically from parents, from family of origin when we were young, in our educational system, in our cultural system, values, ethics, priorities, etc., identifications. It isn't bad. It's not out to get you, it's just wrong. And the only big problem with the ego is it's attached to its way of belief. So it doesn't like to let go. It doesn't like to acknowledge that it's wrong because it needs to hold on to that in order to stay alive. The very existence of the ego is dependent upon you believing it, you going along with it. If I don't believe it, it essentially dissolves into nothingness. Then it's just a random voice in my head that no one's paying attention to. And that's actually the way to become free. So don't try to fight it. Sometimes people talk about annihilating the ego, going to battle with the ego. And I always say, you know, the problem with that is that when you make this decision that I'm going to annihilate my ego, well, guess who's in your head listening to that? Guess who hears you say, today's the day I'm going to annihilate my ego? The ego. And then the ego gets very good at kind of pretending to be what you want it to be. So if you say, today's the day I'm going to listen to my inner voice and annihilate the ego, well, the ego puts on its inner voice hat. So don't think about it like a battle that you're trying to annihilate it. Think about it as just an aspect of the way that your brain and your mind sort of formulated with your psyche and your experiences as you grew, that at some time may have been helpful. It's no longer helpful. Now it's harmful to you. And you just don't want to listen to it. So essentially you ignore it and just keep going. You know, think about if you're walking down the road, feeling really quite good, you've had a good day, you're positive, you're anchored in gratitude and love, and some drunk, random, kind of crazy person on the side of the road is yelling at you, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, you know. Now, it's not going to ruin our day, because we understand it's not true, it's not about me. It's about this guy who happens to be drunk or on drugs or crazy and is kind of yelling at everybody who goes by. I understand I'm not what that person is telling me I am. And I just keep walking. It doesn't impact me. It doesn't affect me. I don't believe it. I don't need to get in therapy because this guy told me this on the street as he yelled at me. I just see it